What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a video where we will analyze the Premier League fixtures, because it was announced today that Liverpool and all the other clubs' Premier League fixtures have been revealed, and Liverpool start off with, of course, an early Saturday kickoff. So even though Jurgen Klopp is not a manager anymore, he's probably laughing somewhere in Spain on a beach or in Mallorca, seeing that Liverpool got the early Saturday lunchtime kickoff again. And it's against newly promoted side Ipswich, who of course I will be following and rooting for, because what a great story. Ipswich, pretty big club back in the day in the 80s. They got back-to-back promotions and they are in the Premier League, but they have been thrown in at the deep end after playing Liverpool. They play Manchester City in their first two fixtures. So Liverpool start off with a fixture against Ipswich, and let me know what do you think about Liverpool's fixture list. I think our title run-in for the last 6 games of the season is really tough, but the other fixtures are pretty great, and we will analyze first Liverpool's fixtures in this video, and then I will look at all the other big teams and big clubs' fixtures. I won't make predictions for the Premier League yet because there are a lot of transfer business to be done. The highlight of the first game week is Chelsea will host Manchester City in the first game week, so hopefully Man City will drop points in that one. Arsenal will play Wolves, Man United will play Fulham in the opening game week, and Leicester will host Tottenham. So newly promoted Leicester also getting a big team in their home stadium. And of course, against newly promoted sides, it's always very tough. But against Ipswich, who haven't been in the Premier League for more than 20 years, it's going to be brutally difficult. And it's not the kind of game that I wished Arne Slot, I wished him a first home game. But you know, it's going to be tough anyway. And Ipswich away, it's a potential banana skin for Liverpool. Liverpool will be huge favorites, and Ipswich will be very up for this game. But after that, you know, Liverpool actually has some pretty decent opening fixtures. So after Ipswich, we host Brentford at Anfield, and then we go to Man United. Now that is the tough one, the biggest fixture of the season. Man United Liverpool at Old Trafford, and it's the third Premier League game at the end of August on Saturday. But of course, fixtures could be moved around, so potentially after transferring those Sam's shot, probably that game will be played on a Sunday. So Man United Liverpool, the first game at Old Trafford, our second away game, and it's going to be the first big game for Arne Slot. And we don't have a particularly great record at Man United, so I'm sure that the Liverpool players will be really up for it. But after that, you know, we play Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth at home. So until the end of September, we actually have a pretty decent run-in. Apart from Man United, you know, all the rest of the games are pretty winnable if Liverpool perform. And we also play Wolves and then Crystal Palace. So our first 7 or 8 fixtures, apart from Man United away, are actually pretty decent. And then starting from the middle of October, we have a really tough period where we play Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, Aston Villa, Southampton, Man City, Newcastle away, Everton. So from the middle of October until the middle of December, Liverpool have a very tough fixture list. But then the Christmas fixtures are pretty decent as well. We play Leicester at home, West Ham away, and then Man United at home. You know what? It's actually pretty tough. West Ham away always tough, and Man United at home, that's not an easy fixture either, depending on how Man United do next season, who knows. And then, you know, Liverpool have a pretty decent fixture list until March the 15th. So from the beginning of March, when that's where the title run-in really starts, we play Aston Villa, Everton, Fulham, West Ham, Leicester, and then, you know, these last 5 fixtures are what's brutal about the run-in, because our last 5 Premier League games are Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton and Crystal Palace. And Brighton away, Chelsea away, but at least 3 of those 5 fixtures are at home. So we play Tottenham and Arsenal at home. So I'm clinging on hope that Liverpool will be in the title race up until that point. And if we are, then the Arne Slot has done well. I will say that first off the bat. If Liverpool are in the title race going into the Liverpool-Tottenham game at the end of April, then Arne Slot has done really well. But I think the minimum requirement for Arne Slot is to finish in the top 4 and to go on a deep run in the Champions League, get to the quarter-finals or the semi-finals, and hopefully go on a deep run in the FA Cup or the League Cup. We also want to look at the Champions League match days and the fixtures after our Champions League games, because remember now that there will be a Swiss format in the Champions League where we will play 8 group stage games against 8 different opponents. And here are the Premier League fixtures after those 8 games. So we play Bournemouth at home after our first Champions League game, Crystal Palace away after our second, Arsenal away, Aston Villa at home, Man City at home, Fulham at home, Ipswich at home and Bournemouth away. So yes, there are some top fixtures like Arsenal away, Man City at home, Aston Villa at home, but the majority of those games are at home. Only 3 of our fixtures are away from home, and 5 times after Champions League games we play at home, which is really good because usually in the Champions League you have to travel, and hopefully with the fixtures, Champions League fixtures, we don't know them yet. Hopefully there are not too much traveling going on because we have 5 home games after Champions League fixtures. Also, we play Chelsea at home before a Champions League fixture in October, and we also play Everton at Goodison Park before another Champions League game in December. So yeah, those are tricky assignments. The brutal fixture list is in October, where we play Chelsea and then a Champions League game and then Arsenal. So potentially if we get a really big Champions League team, then we could have, for example, Chelsea, Real Madrid and Arsenal in a space of a week, which is going to be really, really tough. Or we could have Man City, Barcelona and Everton in the first week of the last week of November. So that is going to be very tough as well, and first week of December. So Liverpool will have to be on their toes, of course, in these fixtures. At least now Man City have a much tougher start to the season than they usually have. Last season Man City had a very easy run-in at the start of the season and at the end of the season. So they were comfortably champions in the end, even though Arsenal were breathing down their necks. Man City won every game. My only hope is that after Man City won 4 Premier League titles in a row, there should be a drop-off, especially with the 115 charges going on against them. So they start with Chelsea away, and then they play Ipswich at home, then West Ham away, Brentford at home, then Arsenal at home, Newcastle away. So they play Newcastle, Arsenal and West Ham and Chelsea in their first 6 games. They have 4 very, very tough fixtures, but they play Chelsea, Man City and Newcastle away from home. So hopefully Man City will drop points. They also have a pretty tough December period. They play Man United, Aston Villa, Everton, Leicester and West Ham. But their last 6 games for Man City are really, really easy, very, very comfortable. So Man City are again huge favorites for the Premier League title, and they will be always until Pep Guardiola leaves or until they get relegated finally for these 115 charges. Arsenal's fixture list also pretty tough at the start of the season, because their first 3 away games for Arsenal are Aston Villa, Tottenham and Man City. So they play 3 of their toughest away games in their first 3 away games. They play Wolves at home, Brighton at home in the first 5 game weeks, but Aston Villa, Tottenham and Man City, that's actually pretty tough. Even Wolves and Brighton are not easy opponents. So Arsenal could be in for a tough start at the start of the season, but their December fixtures are pretty decent. They play Crystal Palace, Ipswich, Brentford and Brighton during the Christmas period, so that's pretty comfortable for Arsenal as well. And Arsenal's last 6 games are pretty comfortable. They play Ipswich, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, they go to Liverpool and they play Newcastle at home and Southampton away. So yeah, just one tough fixture for Arsenal. And for Man City, it's literally 0 tough fixtures in the last 6. Aston Villa at home and maybe Everton away, but those are not really tough fixtures. The run-in is the hardest for Liverpool by far. Man United's start of the fixture list is pretty decent. They play Fulham, Brighton, then Liverpool, and then Southampton, Crystal Palace, Tottenham and Aston Villa. So yeah, those are not really tough fixtures. They play Liverpool at home and Tottenham at home. But, with Man United being so up and down, you never know what to expect from them. Chelsea have literally their toughest fixture at home on the opening day of the Premier League or opening weekend of the Premier League season. But after they host Man City, they go to Wolves, then play Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, Nottingham Forest. So yeah, if they could get a point maybe against Man City, then Chelsea could be in a pretty decent start. Chelsea's Christmas fixture list is also pretty good. They go to Everton, they host Fulham, they go to Ipswich, and they go to Crystal Palace as well. So 3 away games in 4, but not a lot of really tough teams. Tottenham also have a pretty tough start. They go to Leicester, which is always a tough game because they are a new promoted side. And then they play Everton, Newcastle, Arsenal, Brentford and Man United. And they go to Brighton as well. So Tottenham's first 6 or 7 games are really, really tough. Especially their away games. Leicester, Newcastle, Man United and Brighton. So 4 really tough away games. And their home games are not much easier. Everton, Arsenal and Brentford. So yeah, Tottenham could be in for a tough start as well. Last season Tottenham won a lot of their first few games. This season I don't think that will happen. And now that Aston Villa are in the Champions League, a lot of people will watch out for their results. They have a pretty decent start. West Ham, Arsenal, Leicester, Everton, Wolves, Ipswich are their first few fixtures. So yeah, only Arsenal and maybe West Ham away are tough from those fixtures really. And they have a pretty decent Christmas schedule. They host Man City, then go to Newcastle, then host Brighton and Leicester. So 3 home games in 4, but against Man City and Newcastle, Aston Villa will find it tough. And I hope that Aston Villa will be regularly in the top 6 because it's refreshing to see a traditional old big club like Aston Villa back in the big time. I would much rather see Aston Villa do well than Manchester City. Liverpool will be really stretched with having to play 8 Champions League group stage games plus the League Cup plus the FA Cup plus a pretty tough start in the Premier League with us having to go to Man United in our 3rd game week. That's not ideal, but if we could get a result against Man United, I think the rest of our first 6 or 7 games are winnable in the Premier League. So hopefully Arne Slot will get off to a good start. It's very, very important that most of our stars come back fit and firing from their international commitments. A lot of our players play in the Copa America, which starts today. A lot of our players are playing in the Euros as well, so hopefully none of them will get injured. And this was my just overall analysis of Liverpool's fixture list, and we looked at a lot of other clubs' fixture list as well. I'm sorry if I left out your favorite club, but we will talk more about the Premier League predictions when the season is getting closer. So thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.